What does it bode for the future? What does it mean for Russia? And it seems to have come as a surprise to everybody. Why is this the case? What are your thoughts?
Well, the surprise is only is narrative driven. You only really see it in the press. The Ukrainians have been telegraphing their intention to launch a counteroffensive for months now, and we had seen moves in the southern theater with Ukrainian forces pushing in towards Kherson from Mykolaiv Oblast, and that initial foray was relatively unsuccessful. They didn't get very far. They took significant losses. Before launching second assault on east of Kharkiv, which has been a real darling in the Western press, and they have regained significant territory in that area, pushing Russian forces back towards, not completely their starting positions, but taking back a significant portion of the gains that Russia made initially. And that counteroffensive has been trumpeted and foregrounded in Western media as, depending on the particular commentator, either as a breaking the conflict wide open, or as in the quote, blow to Russian military prestige, a humiliation, a lot of end zone dancing. But it may be a little premature. While this certainly puts the prospects of a Russian victory in the near term, renders it more and more remote. The counteroffensive, there was an excellent blog post by an anonymous U.S. Military analyst who goes by Marinus, who many people have identified with a retired Marine general who is active in war games and strategic planning within the Pentagon. And in his post, he points out that type of offensive that the Ukrainians have launched, involving heavy weapons across a very broad front, involving tens of thousands of troops, is something which is impossible to conceal, even under the conditions of World War II, where there's significantly less aerial reconnaissance available, significantly less electronic intelligence, signals intelligence. The United States was, and the Western Allies were well aware of the Battle of the Bulge before it happened, precisely because Panzer divisions needed to be moved around. You cannot conceal that type of redeployment. And Russia, that knowledge gave Russia about a week to begin their own repositioning of troops. And the gains that Ukraine has achieved have largely come from Russians vacating positions rather than the encirclement of entrenched defenders and the destruction of entire fighting forces. Now, if anybody's seen maps of Operation Barbarossa in World War II, you can see an ebb and flow between German and Soviet offensive and counteroffensive as the two sides attempted to ground each other down. And what will likely happen is that a Russian counteroffensive will be stepped up and launched in the... I don't want to make any predictions that can then be falsified, but I'd anticipate that before the end of the year, there will be a major Russian move, possibly something relatively soon, in order to prevent Ukrainian forces from bunkering down in the territory that they've retaken. At this point, before they can entrench themselves, they are actually more vulnerable than they were at the start of the offensive. And the Russian strategy, this is no secret, they've been discussing it publicly through the press and in official statements, has been to grind down and degrade Ukrainian warfighting capacity. They could do this through a war of attrition if they fully mobilized, which they may be compelled to do. But right now, what's limiting the amount of force that Russia can apply in and around Kharkiv has been the reluctance to move the country into a full mobilization, full war footing. The Russian officialdom continues to refer to this as a special military operation rather than a proper war. In many ways, using the same discursive evasion as when the United States was launching the invasion of Iraq, which likewise was supposed to be a short intervention, judicious in scale, limited in the effect on the home front. But as the Ukrainians have successfully conducted a general mobilization, Russia may have to escalate itself towards that in order to have enough material to punch back. It's also worth noting that whatever the tactical situation, whatever the operational situation in and around Kharkiv, as the winter progresses in Europe and Russia continues to benefit from record high energy prices, with Europeans struggling to find alternative suppliers, the strategic ground may shift towards Russia's favor as European publics, exhausted by refugee flows, by contributions to the war effort, as well as record high energy prices. We're talking about an increase of 10 times in the UK, and double, triple regular prices in most of the rest of Europe. That may erode the political will for European governments to continue the war without European support. The United States by itself will have a difficult time logistically maintaining the supply of material into Ukraine to allow the Ukrainians to continue to effectively resist and launch counteroffensives like the one that we've seen around Kharkiv. So I think that it's premature to treat this as a game changer. I think that we'll see more ebb and flow, and unfortunately, like the Second World War, this may be a conflict that goes on until one of the two parties is economically and materially exhausted.
Pascal, any thoughts?
Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out. You can catch the live stream of This Is Revolution every Tuesday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. This is Revolution.